Morning, folks. Just a few days before the US general election, and I think things are going to get a little bit weird and things are going to uncouple. Normal correlations will be strange and the market will be a bit different. We're seeing that already. Let's have a look at some of the charts, and I want to look at the stock market first. You can see a big sell-off in NASDAQ pre-market during the European session, NASDAQ and S&P and the US 30 and the German 40. Now, we've taken profit on this short from the German 40 trade from the top there, that red line. We're still in the NASDAQ and the S&P. NASDAQ still slightly out of them, probably a little bit of profit there now. Short position there and there. And S&P, we've just taken some profit down at the bottom here, about half. And we'll see if we can get this to move down to the 50-period moving average and take the rest of it there. So we'll keep an eye on those, and looking pretty good, I think. And we've got a few other trades, not much on some of the names. Now, quickly looking at currencies, the euro and the pound have rallied and the dollar index has come off as I expected. I'm going to save time today by not zooming into all of these charts, but you can check the last video I did on all of these, or look at your own charts. Just zoom them out and have a look. So we're long on the euro and the pound. Both of those are now in profit, and short on the dollar yen after having formed, I will zoom into this one, a sort of an island pattern block at the top here, a little bit of a gap up. 4 candles in a row, well 3, and then this one collapsing down through the bottom, creating a sort of an island pattern reversal at this very crucial level. So along with the dollar index, I think the US dollar against the Japanese yen will also move down, and we'll have a good opportunity to take profit. That should be cut out in the bloopers, but let's leave it in, Jesse. We could take profit a little bit later on. My target for dollar yen is actually below 130, this recent low, and into the 120s, where it actually belongs. So we can get below this low here, down into a more sensible level. And I guess the Japanese will try and keep it there once it gets down into this region, without it going into this next block. So you can see we've got sort of 2 blocks here, above 140, and then between 130 and 140. So that's where they'd be more happy for this price to be, not in this block. And I think we've got a good chance of this moving down after a perfect technical rejection from the underside of that trend line, order block, Fibonacci retracement 618, the golden ratio. Sometimes it works, mostly not, even though it's the most favored Fibonacci number. So we've got 3 trades on here, and normally we don't have all of these currencies in the same direction, but we're long on the euro against the dollar, we're long on the pound against the dollar, we're long on the dollar yen, in other words, sorry, short on the dollar yen, long on the yen against the dollar. So all 3 against the dollar. We've talked about stocks, looking for these to move down. Watch the 50-period moving averages on the NASDAQ and S&P. That'll be a good place to take profit, always is. And the 50-period SMA is normally the medium term. It's a good support level if in a bull trend for the medium term. The 20-period moving average, the green line on all these charts, very good for short-term direction. We've broken down beneath them on both the NASDAQ and the S&P and the US 30 and the German 40. So short-term momentum is now downwards. We're below the 20-period moving average on the day chart. We haven't closed beneath the 20 yet, especially on the NASDAQ. The others are quite well below. But we have not breached the 50-period moving average, the red one down here on all these charts. You can see the US 30 is touching it. We're almost there on the German 40, hence we took our profits there. And when we get there, if we get there on the NASDAQ and the S&P, that will be the acid test for the long-term trend, medium-term trend. The long-term trend is the 200-period moving average. Going across to gold and Bitcoin and other metals, well, we're short on gold, and strangely enough, it's actually working out. It's a very tentative position, very, very small position, and I'm willing to immediately stop or hedge this if we close above this high here at around about 27.90. We got in at 27.85.9, call it 27.86. So just $4 from the top. And if this moves down, I'll continue to add to this position and build it up, adding to the winning trade, not the losing trade. So if we move down and break below and close beneath some of these levels, I'll start to add more size onto this gold short trade, starting with the 20-period moving average and this rising trend line. There's the 50 not far below. So once we start closing beneath these levels on a daily basis, I'll start to add to my short position. Okay, let's go to the day chart. You can see we're still well above the 20-period moving average on the day chart. So we're still very, very bullish. Notice the stock markets have broken below their 20 periods, but gold has not. So on the 4-hour chart, it looks like it might be trying to turn, but it's very, very early days just now. And actually, this trades more of a hedge against our long Bitcoin positions and long on palladium and long on platinum. Those have both come back in, platinum and palladium. I'm not worried about those. I like these patterns generally. I think we're going to faff around a bit. We've got the elections we spoke about in a few days' time. Big U-shaped reversal going on in here in platinum. Very happy with that one. But there's going to be a lot of faffing around. It's not a neat instrument to trade and not a neat metal. None of the platinum group trades are, or commodities rather. This is palladium, equally as messy, also forming this U-shaped bottom, and with the potential resurrection of the internal combustion engine, bringing back the the early 20th century maybe. Maybe we'll get a bit of a bid on palladium. That's mainly used in catalytic converters for internal combustion engine cars. And with the advent of, or the swing towards the Clean New Deal, banning electric cars and petrol cars in the future in California, places like just generally all over Europe and the West move to electric cars, and China actually, and some of the other Asian countries. So, but that move might be swinging back a little bit as there are all sorts of problems facing the EV market, not just technology-wise, which I think will be resolved initially, but or eventually, but all sorts of other reasons in terms of global supply and demand and manufacturing. So a bit of a shift show with an F. Right, let's go into natural gas. Just hovering and holding here. This is the NG1 chart, the 4-hour chart on the NYMEX. Let's go to the day chart quickly. And really just to emphasize where we are. We rolled over into this new contract, the December contract, right up here, but still underneath the triangle. And so there's every chance we might need to move down, test the 2.25 at the triangle bottom, where this big order block is, all that sort of thing. But I generally think this is holding up super well. We haven't seen that big roll down after the roll over, and this market's just held up and hovering at this current price. No dramatic pullbacks, not even to fill that gap even slightly. So looks pretty good for me. We have a long position from 2.85, 2.84 I think, or 3.8543 on the futures here on the NYMEX. I'm trading that at Black Bull, and also on the spot market or continuous contract rather at Pepperstone. I've got a long position from 2.22, and that position is taken quite a long time ago. And well, it doesn't look very strong, I have to say, meandering down. But we have a nice reversal pattern here on the 4-hour chart, actually. Two beautiful 3 spike lows, triple bottom on this 4-hour. In fact, you could say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 almost identical spikes against this level at 2.25. It's a very, very key and important level, not only here on the continuous, but also over on the futures for different reasons. Futures are trading at much higher price now, but that 2.25 level is still relevant. The fact that the continuous price is hovering around 2.25 still leads me to believe that we may see some weakness in the futures, but we haven't seen that yet. And if I just go back to the 4-hour chart here, remembering this is a delayed, 15-minute delayed price here on the NYMEX, and really just no movement. There's the rollover price at 2.83, and we're at 2.8, just about 1 now. So just a 2-cent move, 2 or 3 cent move during this whole period. We do have order blocks above us, as we know. We've got to get through these resistance levels. It's going to take some time. Let's go back to the day chart, see where we could get to. I think we should get to, I don't know. We've got the storage report coming today, which might actually add a little bit of impetus one way or the other. I'm not sure which way, and I don't really care. I don't pay a lot of attention to the storage reports. They create short-term noise, but not general medium-term swing trade direction. It's just the storage report's a reflection of what else is going on in terms of weather and supply and demand. So I don't worry about the storage report too much. It just reflects what's actually already going on, and we can see it better in the price. The price is holding up really strongly here, and I don't know quite why, but I'm happy about that. So no dips, apart from these little couple of spikes down. Okay, quickly back to the day chart. So I think we could actually push up through there rather than down. I'm allowing for a pullback down to 2.5, even 2.25, but I think this triangle should hold. I drew these 3 paths in one of the previous videos. Go and check out, not the last one, but the one before that. And these are the 3 options that I think we could take. It looks more now like we're going to take the green path rather than either of these red paths. But bear in mind, we might have to do this. Once we get going through this triangle top and we make a new high, we've now got a high, a lower high. That's the first lower high, second lower high, third lower high, and we're just underneath that line now. Now we've had 3 touches, all lower highs. We need a higher high, and the moment we break through this triangle and above this order block and create and close with a new higher high, I think we could see this getting a move on. And I would take the height of this triangle, the base of the triangle, if you invert it, as a sort of target. 3.4 down to 1.4, that's a $2 move, and we're currently trading at 2.8. We could get up to $4 or even maybe 4.8 to the underside of these lines. Now that would all depend on all sorts of factors falling into place, including weather, industrial demand, domestic demand, storage depletion. Something needs to spark this if it's going to go up, something that's going to put pressure on supply or increase demand one way or the other. Could be weather, it could be just industrial demand, could be anything, some sort of weird freaky weather situation. I don't know, but that's what we need to see if we want to get moving. My target now is actually around above 4, maybe 3.8 to $4, somewhere around there. Now let's go across and look at a couple of other things. I'm not going to talk about the dollar against the rand or the pound against the rand. I think you know my thoughts on that. Looking for a move up into the blob, about 18.5 to resell the dollar rand, and pound rand will follow suit. We're also long on the VIX. We're long from 16. We're currently trading at just below 21. So a decent profit on that already. I think we could get some more on that. And if you look at the way the stock markets are moving today, and if they carry on doing this, I'm not saying they will, but if they do, that'll drive the VIX up further and we'll make more money on that trade. So that's a good one so far. We're also long on TLT. No one can understand why the bond market's behaving weirdly. People are expecting inflation may come back, that we may be higher for longer again, all sorts of talk about that, stagflation. I think a lot depends on this election and what happens in the next 4 days, literally. Will determine the way this market looks for the next 4 years, I think. So there's no point in speculating about much of this right now, including the bond market. But we remain long on TLT, adding a little bit more this week at the bottom there. Okay, let's move across to some of the softs and the grains. Sugar, we went long on at that level there. Just forming this what looks like a bull flag, really. Trying to get up through the top of there. We'll see how that goes. I think all the commodities are really quite cheap at the moment, and we need to see a bit of a bump up in these. And despite the fact that we've had very high inflation, most of that has been in other areas and not in these basic commodities, except perhaps coffee, cocoa, and stuff like that. But those are not really the things that affect the everyday household. Maybe chocolate does, and coffee actually. But that's not a big issue in terms of inflation. But we've seen generally the staples, sugar, corn, wheat, cotton, all that sort of thing, just staying really low. And I think we're going to get a bit of a bid on these. So we're long on sugar, we're long on soya. You can see our positions there. Got nothing on cocoa just yet. I explained this in some detail in our live stream yesterday. If you want to see an in-depth analysis of what I think cocoa is going to do, check out yesterday's live stream. And I put all that, I spent about 10 or 15 minutes on that. We're long on wheat. That's just bumped up a little bit again. We're also long on cotton and corn. So all of the staples and the softs and the grains we're sort of going long on. And we're also short on orange juice, but that's not really moving very much at the moment. So folks, that's all for today's video. I actually wasn't even going to do a video, but I've done it now. So good luck for all of you who are short in the stock market. If this works out well, we'll make a really good profit on these this week and already starting to move that way. So please, folks, remember to be really, really careful. Doesn't look totally out of control just yet, but things could get weird in the next few days. That's for sure. I'll see you in the next video. If you like this one, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. Take care.
This morning market on my mind. Shots are telling stories, green and red they whine. Commodities, they're joking, gold just ain't that kind. Gonna trade my blues away, rhythm hard to find.